Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. That's me, by the way. And that's my book. HMP Manchester Prison Officer. Get it on Amazon. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to talk today about abuse on the segregation units in HM prisons. Now, let me tell you this. The abuse of inmates starts with locking three men into a cell designed for one 150, 200 years ago. That's the first abuse of the prison service. And it's an insult to the integrity of the criminal justice system to abuse human beings like that. Prisoners are you and me there, but for fortune go you and I, as Joan Baez once said. And it is the truth. And I have seen many reasonably decent people who have been put into prison and they can't take it. They can't take it because it's completely and utterly alien to their lifestyle. I've previously mentioned before about the poor old guy, 70 years old or so, who was put into Strangeways prison for walking his dog in a park at Burnley. They passed a new bylaw and it banned all dogs from walking in the park, and he'd been walking his dog in that park for 60 years. And he said, why should I stop now? Anyway, the magistrates fined him. He refused to pay the fine and was sent to Strangeways prison. He lasted 2 days. It was ridiculous what happened to him. He was put in a cell, a one-man cell that held 3 people, believe it or not. And everywhere he went in the prison, the staff, as well as the inmates, were barking at him. You know, everywhere he went, they're going, woof, woof, woof. Seriously. He lasted 2 days. I mean, that's the start of the abuse. But when you get some real abuse, I mean, you've got to go down to the segregation unit. Now, the segregation unit, they always had hand-picked staff. Yeah. And they were usually, in my experience, I mean, don't forget we're going back some time now, but a number of the hand-picked staff, one of them was called a school bully. I mean, we're not talking about somebody who was called a school bully because they were particularly good at mathematics or written English or algebra. No, they weren't particularly good at any of those subjects. But what they were good at was putting the fist into somebody's face. The school bully, otherwise known as Bootsy, but a really nice guy. You know, if he weren't on the receiving end, he was an affable character. You know, I quite like Bootsy personally, but then again, I didn't get battered round the cells, did I? And then, of course, we had somebody like the Black Dog, who was a glum-looking character with dark, straight hair, and they called him the Black Dog because he always had a face like a smacked arse, you know, like that. I mean, seriously, if you're down the block and you're not accustomed to this kind of behaviour and you meet somebody who's going around going, you can start to get worried, don't you? It will play on your mind a bit, you know. But abuses down the block usually started with you got offered a good hiding. Quite often it was a school bully. It could be the Black Dog or the Chinese Money Box or Piggy or one of them characters. Yeah, they offer you a beating, you know. You're on the block now, you do as you're told, but before you go any further, you've got 10 seconds to hit me. And after that 10 seconds, I'm going to give you the best hiding of your life. Take your shot. Seriously, that's what they used to. That was the first hour down the block. That's what you got. And of course, what happened then was it didn't matter what you did. I mean, you could hit this guy with a fucking 4x4 straight over the head. It wouldn't have had any effect. He was tremendously tough. Been a former weightlifting champion, heavyweight weightlifting champion. So then he just used to apply the beating and leave you to that. So you knew where you stood right from the word go. Yeah, as soon as you stepped out the line, you were going to get slapped. Seriously. And they had white tiles and black tiles down the block on the floor, you know. You were not allowed to walk on the white tiles or to walk on the black tiles. If you walked on the white tiles, all hell broke loose. I mean, if you walked on the white tiles when you were carrying your dinner, guaranteed bash, you get hit so bloody hard your dinner would fly down the end of the landing. And then you get dragged by your hair and slung into the cell. It was not a pleasant experience. Not that I experienced it. But I've been down the block when they've been beating people and tried to intervene. It's very dangerous, you know. Because the staff are down there, when they make their mind up they're going to give somebody a good beating, you know, you get in the way, then you're going to get it. Because somebody's going to get it. It's the same at the scrubs. You know, every segregation block has got big bastards that can deal with it. I mean, what are they going to be doing these days, you know? Who have they got in charge of the block at Strange Ways now? Jennifer. Jennifer! Smith in cell number 3 won't go into his cell. What shall I do? Oh, I'll have a word with him, don't you worry. Now then, you know what you've got to do. No, that's not what we need. Bring back the good old days. Bring back Bootsy. Bring back the school bully. Won't go in your cell. I'll show you whether you're going in your cell. You'll plead to go in your cell when I finish with you. You'll be praying, please let me go back in my cell. That kind of thing, you know. It's going to happen. Anyway, abuse down the block was absolutely standard practice, and it was absolutely pointless complaining. Who would you complain to? I know, you complain to Norman Brown, the governor. Yes, what do you want? You complaining that somebody's beating you up down the block? Right. I suggest you don't go down the block anymore. But you put me down the block. Well, don't go down anymore. Get your time done and get out. Now get out of my office. That'd be Norman Brown's response. I'm not the only one on here, you know, on this channel who has witnessed Norman Brown. There's a guy called Barry Smith who comments on here. He's encountered Norman Brown. So make some comments if you will, please. Yeah, I will respond. I mean, abuses of inmates, standard practice. I've seen staff urinating into the soup and intervened, said, listen, this isn't the way to behave, you know. Get about your bloody duties, you know, that kind of nonsense, you know. I say, well, what are you trying to do? What is it? This'll bloody teach them. Not teach them anything, actually. It's just an abuse. And nobody knows about it except you and me and the soup. So what possible abuse is that? You don't go telling inmates, oh, by the way, I've pissed in your soup. Watch the soup if you ever end up in jail, because some of the inmates end up getting soup that's been lashed with slash. Yeah, how about that? That's a little off the top of my head. Anyway, listen, thanks very much for your comments. I do appreciate them. And if you like and subscribe, you know, and all the rest of it. And don't forget to get my book. And anyway, we had a request here from a guy called David Joseph. David Joseph, thank you for your kind comments. My wife doesn't agree, by the way. She thinks I've got a terrible singing voice. And so do most people. I found that as I go through life. People just don't appreciate my singing voice. So, to make matters worse, I'm going to sing you a standard now. I'm going to sing you Paper Doll. Recorded by the Mills Brothers in the 1950s, or maybe like 1940s. And this is for David Joseph. Yeah, David Joseph, thank you very much. And please do leave some comments. I do appreciate the comments. Even the insulting ones, Larry. I know. Larry, he lives near to Rotherham. He doesn't live at Rotherham. He lives near to Rotherham. And he's got a big mansion just outside Rotherham, at Wentworth, I believe it is. Yeah, the Palace of Wentworth. Sir Larry Baron von Yorkshire. That's him. Doesn't ride a horse, rides somebody else. I've forgotten her name now. And by the way, Larry, goats sheep. Still a very strange pastime, but each to their own. I'm going to now sing you a song called Paper Doll, and this dates from way back when. It was the Mills Brothers, 1931 actually. 1930, oh wow, yeah. It's even older than me. It's even older than Larry. Here we go. I'm gonna buy a paper doll that I can call my own. A doll that other fellows cannot steal. And then the flirty, flirty guys with their flirty, flirty eyes will have to flirt with dollies that are real. When I come home at night, she will be waiting. She'll be the truest doll in all the world. I'd rather have a paper doll to call my own than have a fickle-minded, real-life girl. I guess I've had $1 million or more. I guess I've played that doll game over and over. Just quarreled with Sue. That's why I'm blue. She's gone away and left me just like all dolls do. I'll tell you boys, it's tough to be alone. And it's tough to love a doll that's not your own. I'm through with all of them. I'll never fall again. Say boy, what you gonna do? I'm gonna buy a paper doll that I can call my own. A doll that other fellows cannot steal. And then the flirty, flirty guys with them flirty, flirty eyes will have to flirt with dollies that are real. When I come home at night, she will be waiting. She'll be the truest doll in all the world. I'd rather have a paper doll to call my own than have a fickle-minded, real-life girl. Paper doll, eh? There's a pervert for you. Anyway, that was the Mills Brothers. That was me impersonating the Mills Brothers. Very badly, by the way. I agree with you there. So that was for David Joseph. And David, if you enjoyed that, I will see you tomorrow morning on the sick parade. Don't forget, folks, buy my book.